Starting with pharmacokinetics, bioavailability. So this graph, when you see, this is area under curve for a plot that has plasma concentration versus time. This term is very important. The area under the curve for plasma concentration versus time represents bioavailability. And since this is for IV, this is the maximum concentration, because in case of IV drug, IV dose, it is unchanged, means whatever you're administering, the drug is unchanged. So what exactly is bioavailability? Fraction of administered drug reaching systemic circulation unchanged. So IV dose के लिए 100% it is. Now when you come to oral, okay, oral, the bioavailability will be less. Why? Because of first pass metabolism. Now one more thing you have to remember, even if two drugs they have the same rate of absorption, their bioavailability can differ. Why? Because of first pass metabolism. Okay, so it depends on both things. It depends on incomplete absorption as well, plus first pass metabolism that is going on. Okay, now this in case of oral drug is less than 100, the bioavailability, because of these two causes. So their graph will be different. This will be the graph. Okay, it is reaching a concentration maximum. Now this concentration maximum, the time when it reaches is called Tmax. So Tmax mainly is said in case of the oral drugs. Okay, so this is clear. Now bioavailability is usually the area under the curve divided by your dose. Okay, like multiplied by the area under the curve divided by the dose. So here this particular formula is called trapezoidal rule. Okay, it is the fraction of administered drug that is reaching the systemic circulation. So fraction of what? Fraction of something that, like, how am I supposed to say? See, 100% absorption is in IV dose, okay, and oral is basically a fraction of this IV dose. So that's why it is called, fraction of administered drug. And because it's a fraction of administered drug, you're using the trapezoidal rule here. It is called trapezoidal rule. Okay, so this is the first part. Next we come to volume of distribution. Okay, so first let's read and try to understand. Okay, then we'll go into the nitty-gritties of things. So a theoretical volume occupied by the total amount of drug, the entire drug, theoretical volume occupied by the total amount of drug in the body relative to its plasma concentration. Head or tail, it's very difficult to understand. The most easiest way to understand this is that imaginary volume throughout which the drug would be distributed if the plasma concentration had been constant throughout. Okay, that is volume of distribution. Now apparent volume of distribution of protein bound drugs can be altered by liver and kidney. Okay, this holds a lot of significance because it is useful when you have cirrhosis or nephrotic syndrome and things like that. Now decrease protein binding, it will increase the volume of distribution. Why? Because volume of distribution is related to the plasma concentration. Okay, and protein binding doesn't directly correlate to plasma concentration. So apparent volume of distribution of plasma protein bound drug can be altered by liver and kidney. Okay, and this is how it can be altered. Now drug may distribute in more than one compartment. Very true, there are different compartments like ECF, ICF, and then you have the intravascular compartment and so on. Hemodialysis is most effective for drugs with a low VD. This is important. Why? Because here you'll have application of lithium. Okay, hemodialysis, again read it, hemodialysis is most effective for drugs that has a low VD. Low VD means low volume of distribution. Low volume of distribution means it is not getting distributed throughout the body, it is staying in the intravascular compartment. Okay, so let's come to this table now. Okay, continuing from here, VD when it's low means it is going to stay in the intravascular compartment. It is not going to get distributed into the tissues, like into throughout the body. It is not going to get distributed. So what are the drug types here? Large charged molecules like heparin. Heparin is a large molecule. Obviously it has charge, and it has charge, and it cannot be distributed into the tissues too much. And warfarin. Warfarin is plasma protein bound, so it stays within the intravascular volume. That is important. Stays within the intravascular volume and does not get distributed into the tissues. And lithium also has a low volume of distribution. Now lithium, what it does is, because it stays in the intravascular volume, when we have to deal with lithium toxicity, that is more than 4 milliequivalents per liter, we go for dialysis as a antidote mechanism. You can actually add this to the antidote video which we did yesterday. I'll just leave the link in the pinned comments for that video, and you can see that. So it's a whole list. Lithium also can be added to that, and maybe whenever you go through that list, wherever you see dialysis, there you can directly correlate to this, that it's going to have a low volume of distribution. So that's why we are using dialysis as a antitoxin mechanism. Okay, now let's go forward. Medium volume of distribution, like medium, low volume of distribution, medium volume of distribution. So medium is in the extracellular fluid. It goes till the extracellular fluid but not till the tissues. These are small hydrophilic molecules like ethanol and lipid insoluble molecules. So that's why it is not going directly into the tissues, but it is going till the ECF. And this is gentamicin as an example. This has come. These formulas have come. The whole this thing of bioavailability, what is area under the curve represents, this particular plot, they haven't even mentioned that it is the graph of bioavailability. They have directly mentioned plasma concentration versus time plot. So something like that. These everything, all this has come. Okay, let's go back to this. So we had gentamicin here. Next is high VD. Now what is the significance of high VD here? Obviously anything that has high volume of distribution is going to get quickly distributed in the tissues. So that's why you need to give a loading dose, a good loading dose for such drugs, so that they can reach a concentration maximum in the plasma. Okay, that is important. So the compartment is all tissues including fat. These are small lipophilic molecule. Obviously if it wouldn't be lipophilic, then fat here, and obviously tissues as well, especially if bound to the tissue protein. So digoxin, verapamil and organophosphates, all this has a high volume of distribution. So that's why you'll not see dialysis happening here. This was a question, like they gave these as options and this was the odd man out. Okay, like here in lithium you do dialysis, while others where there is a high volume of distribution, you don't do dialysis as an antitoxin mechanism. They also had a numerical. Okay, now this formula is important.